Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Wine Vault Radio with Jason Bryant from winevaulttv.com.
Yes, Jason_Bryant on Twitter, winevaulttv.com. It's where he records a whole bunch of videos, wine tastings, wine reviews, that kind of stuff, and he's in the Kiwi studio to do it every Friday as well. G'day, Jason.
G'day, Wammo. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
It's summer. Summer's finally arrived,
Yeah,
it
you're
feels
looking
like.
very summery there in your T-shirt.
Yeah, I know. And also, the wine I've got is very summery, and it's sunny outside.
It is.
It's
and it's
beautiful
looking
outside.
like it's going to be a great long weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. So I'm all kind of geared up for that.
Good times.
So, well, yeah, hopefully, and get rid of that rain.
Yeah.
We don't need it anymore.
No, we're done with that.
Yeah, exactly. We had it all winter.
Yep.
Felt like kind of 2 months solid.
Yep.
Yep. There's enough water around the world right now being dropped on various countries.
That's true.
Yep. So
That's true. Now,
big news in the wine industry this week.
Big changes. Tell us about it.
Big changes. Lindauer and 12 or 11 other brands of the Pernod Ricard New Zealand have been sold to Lion Nathan. So that means that Lindauer, I think there's Benson Block and Hunterway and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've all gone. They've all been sold.
To the behemoth.
Yes, who are now the second largest wine producer in New Zealand. And they do have that little saying, never mix the grain and grape.
So is DB number one?
No, Pernod Ricard number one still.
Okay.
Purely on volume.
Right. So
Yeah.
they've just shed some of their
They've
brands.
just shed some 12 brands.
Why would they do that?
I guess they're scaling down and going pretty much back to the principle of Montana, which was Marlborough. And they've pretty much consolidated, apart from a couple of extra brands that sit outside Marlborough, they've pretty much consolidated all of their winemaking efforts in Marlborough. So they've got...
Is this cost cutting?
I would assume so, yeah. I mean, the industry is not flash. And so if you can pull some of that in and get... I mean, it's $88 million, so... fairly sizable sale.
Yeah, goodness.
Yep. So, but they've sold.
What are they buying?
They're buying all the wineries in Gisborne and in Hawke's Bay.
Yeah. So there's actual land. There's land involved.
There's some land involved. There's 2 big wineries, and there is some brands.
Yeah, and you'd imagine the Lindauer name. There's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of brand equity in that, and possibly a bit less at the moment than there would have been kind of like 07, 08. With the advent of kind of the wine lake in New Zealand and stuff, and export sales going down, although they do command 37% of all bubbly sold in New Zealand. So, I mean, they're a big player.
Do you think Lion would ever look at scrapping that brand and creating something else?
No, I found it fairly interesting, the whole kind of dichotomy that they've just released Tahana, and... which will have to be their premium brand. I see it in the supermarkets at like $25. So that means it can be discounted down to kind of like 15. But you've got Lindauer that kind of like really sits around between 12 and 20. And so is Tahana their premium brand, which is basically the way it's produced. Ironically, Lindauer is better quality than Tahana.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in the way it's method traditional manufacturing.
Well, it's always got a very good reputation overseas, isn't it?
It's huge,
It's
yeah.
premium overseas, yeah?
Yeah. But Pernod Ricard retained, and this is a good strategy, Dutz. Which...
Is it made here?
We got Dutz Champagne from Champagne.
Yeah.
And you got Dutz from Marlborough.
Okay.
So they've retained that brand as well. And they've got Stoneleigh they've retained, and... Camshorn and a few others, Church Road. So they've retained some of the big labels.
Well, there you go. I was actually, I should mention it while you're popping open.
Yeah.
What did you bring in, by the way?
Lindauer Rosé.
Right.
Now, Rosé, because there's a Rosé revolution going on right now, and hopefully we're going to try to encourage some New Zealand wineries to get behind it. It's an Australian and American concept. Try to bring rosé to the fore of kind of everybody's minds, kind of now that summer's coming up, and
I do like a good rosé, not necessarily a Bubbles rosé, but the Bubbles has got it's got a reputation amongst jockey circles.
Has it?
Somewhat.
Are you going to let me in on this little secret? It's something that I don't know.
No, it's just it's a legendary story from ye old times gone by.
Right, okay.
Involving horse floats, cocaine, Lindauer, rosé, and jockeys. That's all I gotta say about that.
Okay. Now, rosé. No, I'm not sure of the grape varietals.
I can't name anyone. You can understand that.
Now, rosé. With the grape varietals, you've got Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. What you do is you either set aside some Pinot Noir, and then you add it to give it that rosé colour, or you bleed it straight from the tank when you're putting it into bottle, and so you get that natural colour. That way you get less consistency year to year. So adding it in the quantity required gives you a lot more consistency. And champagne is at non-vintage level is all about consistency. And so usually I'd go, oh, but it's what champagne is. So you get a nice pink tinge, almost salmon.
It does look nice. It's salmon, doesn't it? Yeah.
Salmon, onion skin, salmon character. So this should have 2 of those 3 varietals in. I'm hoping that they it is a method traditionnel, that they are those varietals. It is bottle fermented. I don't know whether you can see that. Just at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
It says bottle fermented.
What is that? So it just means...
So what it means is that it's done its primary fermentation.
Yeah.
In the bottle, then they kind of riddle it. Is when you turn it in those racks that you see in the calves of...
It's called riddling,
It's called riddling, yes.
Riddled me this.
Yes. So, and then you riddle it, and then it basically drops all of the dead yeast and lees, they call it, down to the neck of the bottle.
Yeah.
So then what they do to get rid of that, or disgorge that, as they call it, they then flip it up so the bottom is sticking in the air.
Yeah.
They put it through a very, very cold brine bath so it freezes the neck of the bottle.
Right.
And then they reverse it or invert the bottle back so it's in its normal position and the little ice plug pops out. Then they fill it up with wine and put some more sugar in.
What was on the top initially?
All the dead yeast.
Yeah, but what was keeping the...
A crown cap.
A crown cap, okay.
Yeah. So
they remove that,
so they
ice
remove
comes out.
that. The ice comes out. It's disgorged. Then they top it up with wine, put some sugar in it, put a cork in it, and you get that secondary ferment. And that's what fermenting in the bottle is. Bottle fermentation.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What a technical process. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And
do you know where that came from?
France.
France.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. And probably more recent times, I'd imagine, with the whole freezing process.
Well, no, because the luxury of the Northern Hemisphere is that they've got the seasonal changes. So over winter, when it gets very, very cold, right, that top part can freeze.
Okay. So it would happen naturally.
So it would have been a natural process, and they went,
that works.
That works.
Yeah.
Little light bulb moment.
Yeah.
And then put the cork in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it would have been about. I mean, I don't mind kind of yeast and lees and stuff, and sediment in my bottles.
It's all real, isn't it?
So, yeah, it's all real. It's natural.
The ladies don't like it, though, do they?
No.
That's why. That's why they take it out.
So yeah, this is, you should get with rosés, and it's lovely. I know that kind of like a lot of men fear that the prospect of drinking rosé because it kind of, it reflects badly on their masculinity. But Somehow, yeah, but masculinity for me is on the inside. You know, I'm quite comfortable with myself, and so I can drink rosé champagne because it's usually a bit more delicate in structure.
And yet, the same men will wear salmon shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I almost get a kind of bubble gum nose.
Yep.
Kind of sweet bubble gum.
Candy-like, yeah.
Yeah, candy. And it's quite challenged. Because they are supposed to be a lot more kind of delicate, feminine.
A lot of bubbles going on as well.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's not rocking my world. I get.
It's not too dry.
It's not overly dry. There's quite a bit of sugar. I should imagine about 14 grams per litre. But I get this.
They just get the big sack of sugar and chuck it in there, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get one of the things that I get with this is that candied apple.
Almost green apple, yeah?
Yeah, green, but it's got that candy on the outside. So you get that kind of tart character, but with the sweetness from the sugar and some of the fruit, it's just like a candied apple.
I mean, I could obviously do more than one, but I wouldn't want to do more than one just because it gets a little bit too sweet.
Yeah.
Unlike the Tahana, and there was another one we had. Was it last week or the week before?
We had the sparkling Sauvignon last week,
which
was.
Well, I could drink. I mean, it was. Yeah, I could.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this I just find far too sweet straight away, and it's like
It is
no,
delicate
I can
in
only do
nature
one.
and stuff. It's just not rocking my world. It's just not enough going on. The bubbles are quite big. It's quite one-dimensional.
It's sweet and it falls flat.
Yeah. Yeah, so you get that fruit.
It's kind of like, looks like this nice big round ball. You go to bounce it and just go boom. It doesn't bounce back up at you.
I haven't played with one of those.
No?
No. Where'd you find those?
It's down at the toy shop.
Right, okay. On the weekend.
Yeah.
You got a long weekend this weekend, so you can go down
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I won't be opening a bottle of Lindauer rosé.
Rosé, yeah.
All right, thanks very much, Jason.
On that flat note.
Yeah. Sorry about
Adios.
that. Adios. Jason _Bryant on Twitter and thewinevault.com.